Welcome. So as promised, today I will showcase you ranged build, but if you probably watch me for some time now, you know that I'm a melee addict warrior especially. So today I wanted to share a build with you that is synergizing warrior with ranged. This is all due to the Loa's assault skill that basically uses slam modifiers but is ranged and cast while moving. Thanks to the fact that it synergizes very well with the slam, we can slap on it a lot of effects that will increase its damage tremendously and put on some random effects off of it that gives us even more damage from things like procs and all other cool stuff. The build may not have like the craziest burst in the game, but the damage is very consistent, and on top of that we can basically do everything while moving, which makes us very mobile with big range, nice damage with a passive AoE that we can proc basically constantly, and it's range, so it's great for team battles basically. If you got some people to cover you, then you will be raining chaos on the battlefields. Due to the fact that we are basically relying on one skill in this build, we want to power it up as much as possible, but also on top of that we have much more choice in utility area because we don't really have to use any additional skill slots, as we are basically spamming simply one skill. And as you probably know, Ascension, PvP especially, really like one button skills, so it's pretty damn crazy. On top of everything, the playstyle is very spammy. If you find yourself like team fighting for like constant 5 minutes, you will leave the battlefield with such a finger pain. That's pretty crazy, to be honest. So like I said, we have quite a lot of choice when it comes down to utility because we have a lot of space for it. Another second thing is that we also have quite a lot of choice in the talent trees, talent cards, oh my god. And this is mostly due to the fact that there are also quite a lot of options, and basically a lot of them come down to your playstyle. Loa's Assault is a skill that also make you play like a minigame constantly. If you play League of Legends, you probably know a character named Raven that basically make your auto attacks ricochet your weapon back onto the ground, and if you pick it up while in flight, you basically increase your damage or attack speed or whatever, I can't remember exactly, but you get the drill. So it's exactly the same in this case. Your weapon ricochets to the ground, but it stays there. So simply when you have a chance, you can pick it up to increase your movement speed and gain some extra rage. Like I said, the damage may not be over the top, but thanks to the crazy good mobility, we can constantly run around and spam the Loa's Assault, which makes it a very machine gun playstyle that is satisfying to pull off. And you're basically like a throwing barbarian fantasy, which is pretty damn cool. You can kite people forever if you get yourself correct tools to do so. One big issue is that basically, even though I name it like a leveling build, you basically unlock your full potential from like level 36. So it's kind of late for like a leveling PvP build, although the BGs in those higher levels tend to be less bursty and usually spend a lot more time on those, mainly because you need more XP to level up and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely up to level 30 you can level up in like 2 BGs if you're lucky with some aura of experience. But yeah, 40 to 60 do take a little bit longer time, but the build is so freaking fun to play that I would definitely recommend trying it out. So if you're willing to struggle a little bit to get to level 35 and then start pumping some crazy damage, you can see in this chart that on BG 40 to 50 I was able to top the kill charts and get to 100,000 damage in the whole BG. Of course, there was a lot of team fights going on, but you can see the craziness of it. Most of the damage comes from Stormguarder, which is also an AoE skill. That's why we get so much AoE going on. Windslam also is AoE, and we can improve it even more with some certain talents. So let's get into the build guide. So, for starters, I picked up Lightning Shield, Hamstring, Battle Stance and Battle Shout. It's going terrible until level 30, so if you do really want, I would pick up something like Sinister Strike instead of Battle Stance, for example. 10% armor penetration is pretty good, but for the sake of your mental health, I would recommend going for some spammable ability that you can use until level 30. So, as for the skill cards, we basically take 2 slots for damage, which is Law's Assault, like our main damaging ability that we'll be spamming constantly, and the second one being Weapon Enchant. I chose Wind Fury for this playthrough, and as you can see, it deals, one hand deals almost 5%, offhand deals 2 and 5, which equals 7. Then we've got 1.5 from Zephyr, which is 8.5, and we take Wind Slam, which is basically AoE, that's why it does so much damage. So in total with buffs, Wind Fury equals like 20% of our DPS, which is quite good to be honest, but it needs those extra slots and talents to be able to achieve such numbers. You can go easy, pick up Fel Infused Weapon, it will work with Law's Assault perfectly, and then you don't have to worry about any extra talents, which you can use for different stuff. Then we've got 4 slots that basically goes for utility. I don't pick a charge for starter ability, so I go for Shimmer, which is shorter cooldown Blink, Disengage, which is only 30-second cooldown, Leaps Backwards, Hammer of Justice to have that juicy stun, and Divine Protection for a defensive cooldown. Things like, I don't know, Frost Nova, for example, would be perfect as well, as you could AoE freeze people to kite them around. But I would say that those are like additional things that can be useful and rolled randomly along the way. I would definitely pick those 2 for mobility, due to the fact that usually like 100% of the time melee people have a double charge in the toolkit, so you have to have those 2 to be able to run away from them. Ranged slow like Concussion Shot or Curse of the Swamp Witch would be great to improve our fighting, but this basic kit should be enough for you. As for the talents, the mandatory one are definitely Stormguarder, which basically makes our slam, so Law's Assault constantly, deal extra damage to 4 nearby enemies when we have Lightning Shield active, and it actually refreshes its stacks, so we usually just turn on Lightning Shield before the fight, and then automatically just by spamming that Law's Assault it's gonna get refreshed and deal extra damage. It has 2-second internal cooldown, so basically it means that approximately every second Law's Assault is gonna proc it, so it gets it quite often. Overwhelming Rage is quite important as well, because Law's Assault costs 30 rage and we will be spamming it constantly, especially when we finally get improved slam ability, which decreases the swing timer of slam by 1 second. So Law's Assault is only half a second cast time, and also increases the damage of slam ability by 20%, so it's a green talent but a very important one. This allows us to spam that Law's Assault like a crazy machine gun, and that's why we need quite a lot of rage for it. Then Unending Fury further increases our slam damage. I picked Dreadnought, but that was a mistake. The thing is that Dreadnought spawns off of us, on contrary to Stormguarder, which basically procs on target. So, in Mana Storms, this will be great because, yeah, usually we fight in melee anyway in Mana Storms, but yeah, in PvP we want to get out of range of those melees, and then Dreadnought is basically useless. Battering Ram is amazing. Casting Slam now ignores 10% armor and applies a stack of Sunder armor, so we've got a lot of armor ignoration and all those talents. So if you pick Wind Fury, definitely go for Wind Slam. This is some extra free damage when Wind Fury procs, and Zephyr increases the percentage off of which we proc Wind Fury, and on top of that gives us some extra damage. It doesn't deal that much, as I see from my damage breakdown, so I would probably go for something like Desolate Winds instead, because when it proc Wind Fury, it applies a dot on the target, so that could be pretty good. But if you're going for Fel Infused Weapon, you basically free up 3 slots on the talent cards, because you don't take Wind Slam, you don't take Dreadnought, and you don't take Zephyr. So there's actually a way to play around this, but you have to pick up Glaive Toss in this ability card from the ability cards, because Law's Assault is also leaving like those special runes on the ground that when picked up, they also increase the damage of your next Glaive toss, but I think 10 or 20%, I'm not quite sure at the moment. Anyways, it stacks up to 5 times, so it can be pretty deadly. And there is actually 2 talents that you can take additionally. Battle Glaive, so using 3 warrior direct damaging abilities in a quick succession, resets the cooldown of your Glaive toss and increases the damage of your next Glaive toss by 35%. So it's an additional modifier on top of everything. Then you have improved Glaive toss for additional 50% damage increase, and it also jumps to 2 additional targets, so it has extra usage in AoE and also slows targets for 3 seconds if used further than 15 yards, so additional cool stuff. And then you can pick Old Blood Surge, which basically makes your Glaive toss proccing a buff that makes your next slam instant. They are pretty quick to cast, but this increases it even further, and consuming the Blood Surge buff increases our next Hunter or Warrior direct damaging abilities by 10%. Also, the Blood Surge ignores the armor by 50%, so after every Glaive toss, our instant slam is going to be powered up by quite a significant amount. And I have to say that even without buffs, just by picking up that Gonk runes from the ground makes Glaive toss hit for pretty nice amount. So as you can see, it crits for like 125 each. So with all those modifiers, it will probably crit for around like 250, maybe 300 even. So 2 Glaive tosses is a 600 damage if it's a crit. So pretty damn good, especially that you can reset it thanks to the Battle Glaive after using 3 warrior direct damaging abilities. So it's pretty crazy. It's just making the playstyle a little bit more active thanks to the procs, and you can just simply create a rotation when you use 3 Lowers Assault and then go for Glaive toss and things like that. So definitely after the test, I would go the Glaive toss route, but if you prefer to go for Fellow Fused Weapon and you're not picking up those Glaive toss things because you just want to spam one button, one ability, then I would definitely recommend getting some of those passive stuff like Amalthazat Malediction, especially that it also slows the target and will be spamming attacks, so it can proc pretty damn often. We've got things like Seething Flames, which is a great one as well. Don't expect the damage from those passive things to be some kind of crazy increase, although every extra damage is welcome, especially if it goes off randomly. There's also a very good talent named Static Shock, which makes our lightning shield gain additional charges, and we have 50% chance to hit your target with a lightning shield orb when you deal damage with melee attack and abilities. This effect can only occur once every 2 seconds, so we're hitting with both weapons, so this adds additional layers of this proc chance. And lightning shield does pretty nice amount of damage, as you can see. One proc does like around 66, so it's even more extra damage on top of everything. I will quickly come back for the starters, because I was saying to take some kind of spammable ability. The other way you can do this is also go for a beast, for example, like a spider, and then you will have additional root from its web ability, which is 4-second root. Pretty amazing for PvP if you ask me, and you have some extra damage. I don't usually like pets, but I managed to roll an imp, which increases my stamina on top of everything. So with all the buffs, I have like on level 53 almost 4k health, which is pretty damn good. On top of that, I also roll like sprint and some heals along the way. I also got grappling hook, another mobility thing, so it can get pretty crazy. I did test sweeping strikes because I got it, and it seems to proc attacks to nearby enemies, so if you happen to get this or a blade flurry, definitely pick it up. And also I didn't card auto shot, but it's a very good extra damage, especially when you can free cast and stand still. Those extra shots will be welcome. So that's it for today, guys. I definitely recommend this build. If you love ranged, you've seen in the first part of the video what it can achieve and how it performs. So good luck with the rolls, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.